Coming up tonight on YCN News, 2 criminal cases are resolved in court. Bellows Falls, Vermont is a promise community, and spring skiing continues at 2 area resorts. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening. It's Friday, April 3rd. I'm Abby Peel. Welcome to YCN News. It will be the year 2045 before former Charlestown, New Hampshire resident James Robarge is eligible for parole. Robarge learned today how many years he will serve in the prison from Sullivan County Judge Brian Tucker. James Robarge will serve 30 years to life in the New Hampshire State Prison. Earlier this year, a jury convicted Robarge, now 45, of second-degree murder with reckless intent for killing his wife Kelly Robarge in June of 2013. She was 42 at the time of her death. Her remains were found in woods off Britton Road in Unity about 10 days after her disappearance. James Robarge beat Kelly on the day she told him she filed for divorce. Her body was put into a car trunk and dropped on the ground. Friends and family of Kelly Robarge, including the 2 adult daughters of Kelly and James, Sierra and Gabrielle, were in the courtroom. James Robarge's public defender's attorneys Caroline Smith and Alex Parsons sought a 20-year sentence for their client. Senior Assistant Attorney General Susan Morrill, Assistant Attorney General Jane Young, sitting by her side, mapped out the reasons why James Robarge should receive a 40-year minimum to life sentence. Morrill told the court James Robarge did not give truthful testimony when on the stands during the winter trial, nor has he showed remorse or responsibility for his actions. Smith took the issue with the state's recommendation of that sentence, explaining to Judge Tucker that James Robarge was convicted not of first-degree murder nor of second-degree murder with intent. Victim impact statements today came from Sierra and Gabrielle Robarge, Kelly's brother, mother, and a close friend. Sierra Robarge told the hushed court that she's lost her go-to person in her mom, and now that she's lost both her parents, she's picking up the financial remains of their lives, including her own bills. Gabrielle said she hates the fact of what this experience has done to her family. She added she wouldn't wish the sorrow, pain, or anguish upon anyone. She fears her son, not yet 2 years old at the time, at the home of when James Robarge beat his wife, will forever be traumatized. Public Defender Smith, in arguing her case for keeping sentencing in line with a second-degree murder reckless conviction, told the court neither Kelly nor James Robarge's relationship to one another was a healthy one. Judge Tucker asked James Robarge if he had anything to say before he was sentenced. Robarge could not speak. Attorney Caroline Smith read a letter Robarge wrote to his daughters telling that he loved them. Robarge also must pay $25,000 in restitution to the Victim Compensation Fund, States Domestic. Payment will be through the Department of Corrections and will be from any money he earns while working in prison. Attorney Morrill spoke to reporters after the sentencing hearing. Neither attorneys Smith nor Parsons commented after the hearing. In another court case we've reported on, a former businessman, executive, and Sunapee resident will serve a minimum of 9 years in prison for a car crash that killed a Wilder, Vermont couple and their unborn baby in December of 2013. Robert Dellinger reports the Valley News sat in Grafton County Superior Court Wednesday and yesterday awaiting his fate. His wife Deborah and son Douglas sat in the courtroom along with relatives of the victims, Amanda Murphy and Jason Timmons. Judge Lawrence McLeod led in his sentencing decision, said Robert Dellinger must be held accountable for driving that December Saturday under the influence of a controlled drug. In the earlier court proceedings, Robert Dellinger denied that he was suicidal and purposely drove his truck off I-89 in Lebanon onto incoming traffic in the opposite direction. It is believed Murphy and Timmons died on impact. Dellinger is 54, Murphy was 24, and Timmons 29 when they died. When you can officially consider the 2015 Pumpkin Fest squashed. The Keene City Council denied organizing firm Let It Shine, Inc. a license to hold the event by a 13-1 vote last night after Violent riots at nearby Keene State College during last year's event put a major damper on the annual festival. More than 100 arrests were made a year ago through the event itself went unscathed, costing the city more than $90,000 to cover damages and added security. This year's event was supposed to be the festival's 25th year, but organizers were unable to come up with a plan that satisfied the city and its estimate that a 2015 festival could cost up to $300,000 with added security. Coming up on YCN News, a southeastern Vermont town earns a new honor, and mandatory recycling in the Green State begins July 1st. We'll bring you this when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Abby Peel. Bellows Falls, a village in the Windham County town of Rockingham, is one of 7 Vermont municipalities selected to be a Promise Community. Under Promise Community's plan, the initiative will support collaboration across public and private sectors to help children with many needs. The sectors include education, healthcare, human service, and other social services to treat the whole child in a comprehensive way. The other Vermont cities and towns include Barre City and Town, Green to Canal Streets in Brattleboro, Rutland City, St. Johnsbury, Winooski, and all Franklin County's early childhood programs in Vermont's Northwest region. Vermont Secretary of Human Services Hal Cohen says in a news release, the goal of the Promise Communities plan is to overcome obstacles that hinder young children's best start in life and kindergarten. These barriers include limited transportation, intergenerational poverty, inadequate affordable housing, and for children's caregivers and their youngsters themselves in later life, local employment opportunities. State and local resources will be used to help solve these issues, says Governor Peter Shumlin. YCN News will update you as the story progresses. Whether you call it trash, rubbish, or garbage, household and business junk has to go somewhere. Per Vermont state law passed at least a year ago, Act 148, or the Universal Recycling Law, takes effect July 1st. Every residence and business must separate recyclable items from solid waste or trash, according to Vermont Public Radio. Recycling will no longer be voluntary, but mandatory. Commercial trash haulers must accept at no extra cost to the business or homeowner recyclables. Transfer stations also must do the same. As a reminder, there's still time to get some spring skiing in. Head to Mount Sunapee Resort or until Sunday, April 5th, Ragged Mountain. Coming up next on YCN News, the Kearsarge Chronicle's Lynn Solomon met with David Lance of MJ Harrington Jewelers in Newport, New Hampshire. We'll have that interview when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Mike Pizzone. Well, there's truly no place like New England. Temperatures in the 60s today, and tomorrow it looks like we'll be walking a thin line between rain and snow. Temperatures will bottom out at 38 degrees tonight with a 90% chance of rain late in the evening. That precipitation will continue into the morning hours tomorrow, and it looks like some communities in our area in those higher elevations could even see spurts of snow. Temperatures will peak at a mere 39 degrees during the day and bottom out at about 23 tomorrow evening with clearing skies. Sunday also looks to be a bit sloppy with a high of 40 degrees and a low of 26, and a 40% chance of showers late in the afternoon. Now let's take a look at our community calendar to see what's happening this weekend. A quilt exhibition with tea will be held tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Olive Pettis Library on Mill Village Road in Goshen, New Hampshire. Attendees can enjoy a cup of tea, coffee, or sparkling juice while viewing the library's display of locally made quilts. The United Church of Cornish on Center Road in Cornish, New Hampshire will hold an all-you-can-eat pot roast dinner tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. Cost is $10 for adults, $5 for children, and free for preschoolers. Call the number on the screen for more information. The Golden Ball Dinner and Dance will be held tomorrow from 6 to 11 p.m. at the Bellows Falls Moose Family Center on Westminster Street in Bellows Falls, Vermont. Cost is $25 per couple or $15 for singles. Call the number on the screen for more information. For most teams in the Twin State region, practicing spring sports indoors takes a little bit of adjusting. But over in Sunapee, New Hampshire, it's not just something they're used to, it's something they've mastered. The school's baseball field in particular struggles when it comes to absorbing water with a hardy layer of clay and rock beneath it. So to combat the issue, the team has historically scheduled its first few regular season games on the road. And while that certainly makes for a lopsided schedule with a plethora of home games late in the season, the Lakers have become relative experts when it comes to practicing off the diamond. If you need proof of that, look no further than the record books. Sunapee has won 3 of the last 4 Division IV titles, including a 6-5 victory over Gorham in last year's championship game. This year's team will have a slightly new dynamic though, with no seniors and a handful of newcomers looking to get their first taste of varsity competition. Still, junior shortstop Cole Cruz said he fully anticipates his team will head into the new season with a big target on its back.
I would assume other teams would be looking to be amped up to play us, and we're expecting that. And I think it's good for the young kids to experience that and grow throughout the season and get more experience.
Junior Ben Robinson said that one benefit to the team's lack of seniors this season is that everyone is beginning on equal terms.
No one really here is the number one guy that we all follow. We put everything in together. We put the team first, we help our buddy out, and then we help ourselves out last. Really, we want the championship again, and we just want to carry on what we have going here. Great program.
I also spoke with junior Mike Platt and head coach Tom Frederick, who echoed each other in saying hard work and repetition is more important than where the team practices.
You know, we're used to it. It's weather. There's nothing you can do about it, and, you know, the field's going to be wet for a while. It's just how it is. So, I mean, we just got to take it as it comes and, you know, just keep working hard, work hard in practice, you know, get our hitting in while we're in here and while we can't get on the field, and, you know, just do everything that we can in here.
Well, it's always nice to have this facility. I mean, we can pick stuff up quickly and get the cage down, get a lot of swings in, get guys come in and throw live BP. We don't use a pitching machine really for anything other than some ground ball drills or fly ball drills or bunting. We don't hit off the machine, we hit off live pitching. And you know, having these facilities where we can just jump into stuff right away, get our pitchers' mounds out, get them throwing, and having a couple guys here to help instruct really gets a lot of stuff done for us.
Sunapee is slated to open its regular season schedule April 15th at Wilton Limeboro and play its first 8 games on the road before its home opener May 8th against Pittsfield. And on a collegiate note, the Kobe Sawyer women's lacrosse team struggled to generate much offense in its bout with non-conference Plymouth yesterday, paving the way for the Chargers' second straight loss. Caitlin Weirdy led Kobe Sawyer with a pair of goals, while Sarah Berry and Nicole Levine each added single tallies. Megan Castellano played well in net, finishing with 8 saves. This next one may look like a lacrosse score, but it's not. It's hockey, I promise. The U.S. women's hockey team defeated Russia 13-1 in today's semifinals of the Women's World Hockey Championships in Sweden. Hanover, New Hampshire's Hillary Knight finished with a goal and 2 assists. The U.S. will face Canada in the championship game tomorrow in a rematch of the gold medal game from the 2014 Sochi Olympics. I'm Mike Pizzone, and that does it for YCN Sports.
Thank you, Mike. When we return, we'll join YCN's Capital Connections' John O'Connor, who sat down with sports anchor Mike Pizzone for this week's News in Review. Please stay tuned.
The YCN News continues in a moment.